There's a moment many men reach, often in their late 40s, 50s or early 60s, when the roles that once defined them begin to loosen. Work changes, children grow up, responsibilities shift. Time starts opening up, and almost immediately the world around them starts saying, you need a hobby, you need something to do, you need to keep busy. And while that advice is well-intentioned, it actually misunderstands what hobbies are really for and why they matter so much at this stage of life. Because hobbies aren't meant to replace old roles, they're meant to restore something far more important. For decades, most men have lived inside responsibility, providing, fixing, leading, solving, holding things together. And somewhere along the way, that becomes identity. So when those old roles soften, many men quietly feel, who am I now? What's my value if I'm not needed in the same way? And that's when the pressure to get a hobby shows up. But when hobbies are framed as something to fill time, to stay busy or avoid decline, they quietly reinforce the wrong message. That your value came from your usefulness, that you now need something to replace it. And that belief creates restlessness, not peace. Here's what I've come to see. Hobbies aren't about entertainment. They aren't about productivity. And they aren't about distraction. They're about what happens to the mind when you're engaged in something you enjoy, without pressure, performance, or outcome. When you walk, or fish, or work with your hands, or garden, or build, or create, your thinking naturally settles. You're not analysing yourself. You're not solving life. You're not carrying roles. And when thinking quietens, something important returns. Clarity, perspective, ease, presence. Not because anything was fixed, but because nothing was in the way. That's the real value of hobbies later in life. They restore your inner world, not just fill your calendar. This stage of life is not about slowing down. It's about realigning. Hobbies offer men mental clarity, emotional steadiness, nervous system regulation, creative reawakening, a return to curiosity, a deeper sense of calm, better relationships and cleaner decision-making. Not because hobbies do these things, but because they create the conditions where these things naturally emerge. And that changes everything. Men become less reactive, more present, more connected, more grounded, more alive, without trying to become anything new. For me, hobbies like walking, fishing and spending time in nature weren't escapes. They become places where my mind naturally rested, where clarity returned, where life felt simpler, where I remembered who I was beyond roles. And the quieter my mind became, the easier life started to flow. Not because I planned better, but because I stopped getting in my own way. So, if you're reaching that stage of life where roles are dissolving and free time is opening up, you don't need a hobby to stay busy. You might simply allow yourself something that lets your mind settle. Because hobbies don't replace old life. They gently reveal the life that's been waiting underneath all along.